Hi, and welcome along to DR Sports for another transfer news. Robbie at the controls today, right? Bringing you all the transfer updates. First of all, got to start with the big news today that Ruud van Nistelrooy has been sacked by Leicester City. Of course, Leicester City were relegated at the end of last season. They're in huge financial problems at the moment. I was actually speaking to a friend of mine who's a big Leicester fan. And he was saying to me that they could face a 20-point deduction this season. And remember, they've been relegated to the Championship. That's already bad enough. A 20-point deduction could see them, drop down even further. And he was also saying to me, one of the reasons why Ruud van Nistelrooy hadn't even been sacked already after being relegated was because they were trying to save money. If they sacked him before the 1st of July, which they have done, but they've announced he's been sacked, or he's left by mutual consent, should I say, that term that's always been used. If they sacked him before, when they really wanted to do right at the end of the season, financially it would have cost them a lot of money. So they've come to a mutual agreement. Ruud van Nistelrooy is leaving the club, and they're without a manager. They're going to start looking for a new manager. But at the moment, Leicester City are in absolute mess. Facing a points deduction. I mean, it's really looking bleak for them at the moment. And when you look down their roster of players, there's really not a lot of high value players to sell. I mean, they've got El Canouse. There's been interest in a lot of players in the Premier League, but it's tough times for a team that, let's not forget, not so long ago, they won the Premier League and the FA Cup. And right now, a lot of financial problems. Even with the company King Power back in Thailand, apparently they're facing a lot of financial issues as well. So not great for Leicester City. When us, with our various clubs moan, why haven't we bought this signing in? Why haven't we got that? Think of Leicester right now. I mean, it's a really tough time. But Ruud van Nistelrooy has left the club by mutual consent. What about transfers? The big one today, me as an Arsenal fan picking up on, has been Eberechi Eze, who's been heavily linked with a move to Tottenham Hotspur this season, alongside a host of many other clubs around the Premier League and Europe. He's today being linked heavily with a move to Arsenal. Now, it's said that Arsenal's new sporting director has already been in contact and held talks with Eberechi Eze, and they are considering a move for him. Of course, Eze, 26 now, turns 27, I think, at the weekend. A really top player, a player that I like a lot. Scored a goal in the FA Cup final, scored so many important goals for Crystal Palace. But he's just a player of absolute class. And he's, it's going to be really difficult for Crystal Palace to keep hold of him this summer. He does have this £68 million release clause. So, this is something that Crystal Palace can hold on to and really try and hold firm on. But it does look like he is going to be leaving this summer, whether it's going to be Arsenal. Arsenal are in the hunt for a left winger and also an attacking midfield player. And he's a player who can play in both of those areas. Or even if it's like Tottenham or another club, they're going to have to do very well to hold on to Eze. Of course, Palace, a club as well with their own issues at the moment. Despite the fact that they've made it into the Europa League, they may not even be able to play in that. I think the decision on that is going to be reached today by UEFA, whether to allow them to play. Of course, their owner, John Textor, also owns Lyon and has broken rules by owning both clubs. He's given up his ownership of Crystal Palace, but there's still issues around whether they'll be able to play in the Europa League or not. If they're not able to play in the Europa League, that will be a big financial hit for Crystal Palace. And then the likelihoods of them being able to keep hold of Eze is even slimmer. So let's keep an eye on how that situation pans out. Another player that's having a lot of problems at the moment is Jack Grealish. And the comments that came out from Pep Guardiola are not exactly encouraging for Grealish. Grealish, of course, now 29, so not a spring chicken. He hasn't had a great time at Manchester City, despite winning the league there, winning the treble. But compared to what he was doing when he was at Aston Villa, it's not been the same player. He's lost his England place now as well, which we know is dear to his heart. I mean, listen, Jack Grealish is an absolute quality player. It's just not happened for him at Manchester City. And the comments from Pep Guardiola doesn't bode well for him. Pep was asked about what's going to be happening with Grealish. He says, I don't know what's going to happen with Jack Grealish's future. Of course, he was left out of the squad that's currently over there in the States playing the Club World Cup. Where is he going to end up? There's a lot of talk that Spurs might come in for him. Son could be moving on this season, and maybe he could be a replacement for Son. He may even go back to Aston Villa, but Aston Villa, who are really, struggling with the PSR rules, are they going to be able to afford the sort of wages that Jack Grealish is on at the moment? I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see where Jack Grealish ends up by the end of this summer. Now, what about this one? Ibrahima Konate, brilliant centre-back for Liverpool. Of course, he's just won the league with them. This is unbelievable that he's only got 1 year left on his contract and could leave this summer. Liverpool have been trying to negotiate a new contract with him, and they're still working on it at the moment. But there are lots of rumours that he could leave. There was a journalist from Foot Mercato that reported that Konate had apparently said that he's looking to leave Liverpool this summer. In the contract that they've been trying to negotiate with him, he's looking for a 40% pay rise. I mean, how have Liverpool gotten themselves back into this situation again after what happened with Trent Alexander-Arnold? I mean, listen, they've been doing some great business this summer with the acquisitions of Wirtz and also bringing in Gyokeres and Frimpong. But if they lose Konate, this will be a big, big blow to them. He was excellent last year. That combination of him and Virgil van Dijk. And I just can't believe that they're back in this situation again where they've got one of their main players with only a year left on his contract, and Real Madrid are one of them teams hovering around trying to get him as well. I mean, not an ideal situation. He could be sold this summer because I don't think Liverpool are going to want to get into a situation like what they had with Trent where he leaves for free. If they can't negotiate a new deal, they're going to have to sell him. And maybe that's one of the reasons why you see Liverpool so heavily linked with Mark Gahey of Crystal Palace and looking to bring him in. Certainly looking at the moment that Konate could leave, but I'm sure all Liverpool fans will want him to stay. Another player at the moment who's staying put is Timothy Weah of Juventus. Another player who was left out of the Club World Cup squad. They're really trying to force him out at the moment, but he's been offered to Nottingham Forest. But Timothy Weah has rejected a move to Forest. He doesn't want to leave Juventus right now, the USA winger. But this is a situation where the club wants him to leave. They want to get the money for him. I can see him leaving as well before the end of this transfer window. Of course, it's a World Cup year. He wants to be playing for the States. Of course, the competition is happening in the US. He's not going to want to get left out of that squad. He needs to be playing regular football. But at the moment, he doesn't want to go to Juventus. So a situation... Sorry, he doesn't want to go to Nottingham Forest. So a situation that we're going to definitely have to keep our eye on. And finally, Victor Gyokeres. Where is he going to end up this summer? Will it be Arsenal? There's a lot of talk that he could end up at Arsenal and that Arsenal are the favourites to sign him and that's the club that he really wants to go to. Or could he go to Manchester United? Now, Manchester United were really hot in for him at the start of the transfer window. According to the rumours, he made it quite clear to Manchester United that he wanted to join Arsenal. But could he be about to do a U-turn and join Manchester United if Arsenal decide to go for Benjamin Sesko instead for their striker? This has been one, as an Arsenal fan, that's been rumbling on since the start of the transfer window. It would be a great signing for Manchester United. They've already made a good signing in Matheus Cunha, and they're looking to bring in Brian Mbeumo. I mean, if they brought in Gyokeres as well, that's a really, really good front three, isn't it? But one of these ones that we're going to have to keep an eye on to see how that pans out. But at the moment, uncertainty over where Gyokeres is going to end up. Will it be Arsenal, or could he end up at Manchester United by doing a big U-turn. So those are the transfer rumours today. Don't forget, keep it locked here on DR Sports. Subscribe to the channel right now so that you don't miss out on a thing. And we keep you up to date with all of the transfer rumours happening right throughout the summer. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.